there, it's Nina with Walla Stamping. Thanks for joining me today. And this is the project that I would like to share with you. Did this not turn out so cute? I absolutely love it. And something that I love about this little die cut here is that you can multi-purpose it, and I love anything that can accomplish more than one task. All these little stars that you see here came out of this when I punched this out with my framelit. So I was able to not waste some of this red glimmer paper and able to use it within this project. So I love it. Now, of course, to me, this kind of has a 4th of July type of a look to it, but it did come out of the Birthday Blast, the Celebrate You. I stamped with the stamp here from the Birthday Blast, and the framelit came out of the Star Blast Edgelit Dies, and this is the one that I used to cut that out with, and I think that it's absolutely adorable. Now, this is in our Occasions catalog, which started on January the 4th, and it'll run through May the 31st. And on page 11 is where you'll find this bundle. And so this is the stamp set, and this is the Edgelit Dies. I think I called them framelits, but they're actually called Edgelit Dies. So when you buy the Birthday Blast and the Edgelit Dies together as a bundle, and you use the bundle number, you're going to save 10% on this set. And so this catalog runs through May the 31st. So you do have time to pick these up if that's something that you are interested in, because this, to me, is perfect for a birthday, which is what I created this to be. And I think that if you did the same type of colors but use Night of Navy and white here, it would be a great 4th of July project. So let me show you what I have inside. Of course, this one I made with these bright colors to be more kid-friendly. But if I was to receive this, I would love it because I love these bright colors. But over the holidays, I picked up this box of M&Ms, and I just have this little tab here on the top glued shut with a little glue dot, which is not hard to get pulled open. So this is what is inside this little box of M&Ms, and that is why I created this. Now, when my children were young and they would have a child that had a birthday party at school, I would always send them some little something. And I picked this up for like $1.50, maybe $1, I don't know. But anyways, that's what is inside this box. But, you know, you could always use this box for something other than these M&Ms. You could put some tea light candles in there. I haven't measured it, but I would bet you could probably get at least 6 in here. And I love the way that this little part stands up on the top and just gives the package a little something extra. So let me move these to the side, and we are going to recreate this box, but I'm going to do it a little bit different. The base of the box here is created in Daffodil Delight. Then the banner is Real Red and Pacific Point. So what I'm going to do is a reversal. I'm going to do the box in Pacific Point, keep the Real Red, and then do the top banner in the Daffodil Delight, and then I'm going to keep the red glimmer paper as well. So here are your measurements. So you're going to need a piece of Pacific Point, and it is going to be 9 inches by 7 3/4. In order to cut out the little topper for your box, you're going to want a piece of red glimmer paper, and it is cut to 4 by 2.5. Then for the banner, Real Red, which is cut to 7.5 by 2 inches, and a piece of Daffodil Delight, which is cut to 7 by 1 3/4. So let me move this out of the way and grab my score tool, and we will do our scoring. So first of all, I'm going to put my paper in on the 7 3/4 inch side at the top, and you're going to score at 7/8 inch, then at 3 5/8, then 4 1/2, and then 7 1/4. Then we're going to turn it so that the 9 inch is across the top, and this is going to get scored at 7/8 of an inch, 7 1/8, then 8 1/2. And that's all the scoring that you're, well, no, I take that back. We're going to want to score our banner, and it is going to get scored, I almost forgot. This will get scored at 1/2 inch, and then at, let's see, yes, at 1/2 inch, and then at 1 7/8. Sorry about that. I did not write that measurement down, so I wanted to make sure that I'm giving it to you correctly. So that's 1/2 inch, then 1 7/8 inch on each of the two banner pieces. And that's all the scoring that we have to do. So let me get rid of that. Now let's get our cutting done. So the part of the box that has the double score lines on it here is actually going to be the top, and this part that has a single score line horizontally will be the bottom. So let's begin by cutting straight up each of these score lines, and then stop when you get to the first score line. Now this little rectangle out here, we do not need it at all, so I'm going to trim that away. And this smaller little 1/2 inch score line here, that is going to be your glue tab that'll hold your box together. So I'm going to cut that at an angle there, and I'm going to do the same thing here, and then these two pieces here, the rectangle and the square, I'm going to cut those away all together. Alrighty. Now, while we're here, let's go ahead and fold these back and cut out a little bit of a wedge from each of these two tabs. It just makes folding your box up a lot easier when you don't have a little extra bulk there in the way. And then we're going to flip the box around. So this is the top, and I'm going to cut straight up these score lines, and I'm going to stop at the second horizontal line this time rather than the first. Now, as you can see, there are a couple of rectangles here and here. I'm going to leave those because I want them to completely fold over the top of each other and make sure that the box inside is covered. So I am going to leave those there. However, I am going to trim just a hair off of those, because when I'm cutting my score lines, I'm actually cutting to one side of it a little bit so that those score lines don't show on the outside of my box, if that makes any sense. So in other words, when I'm cutting this score line here, I'm actually cutting to the left side of it and leaving all of that score mark on this tab. That way there's not going to be an indentation on the edge of this piece of paper that would show with my project. And so then I'm going to come in and I'm just going to trim that away altogether. And this is also going to help allow the box to close more easily. But like I said, I want to leave as much of it there as possible, just so that it's not going to show the box inside. Alright, so let's get these folded, and I am not sure what I did with my bone folder. There we go. I want to get these edges nice and sharp. And this box, you could do a lot of different things with it. It doesn't have to have all these bright colors, and it doesn't have to be the 4th of July. I think that you could do this same idea and use Christmas colors even, and change up your sentiment, and I think that the stars would work fine for Christmas as well. So I feel like that this box is appropriate for more than one occasion. Alright, so what I did here is my box is going to close in like this, sort of like a milk carton. So these two score lines at the very top I folded over on itself, which would be the outside of the box, and these I folded in. Alrighty, let me grab a piece of scrap paper so that I do not get adhesive on my work surface, and I'm just going to use some fast fuse, and I'm going to go ahead and put my box together as far as just the sides go. So I'm going to lay that down flat, line that up. There we go. Okay, so this part that I just glued together that has that raw edge will become the back of the box. So we don't want that edge showing. So we're going to lay the box down like this. But I'm going to go ahead and flatten it out so that I can adhere these to my box. So before I do that, I'd like to go ahead and get this stamped. And again, I think I said that I was using the Birthday Blast stamp set. And so on this, I'm going to stamp it between the score line here and the end of the paper. But I'm going to be cutting this banner out like this, so I'm going to fudge over to the left of that score line a little bit. There we go. All right, that turned out nicely. But that is one thing that I will say about these rubber stamps. They do stamp so vivid and clear. I love that about them. Okay, so what I do next is I will put these together and get the yellow or the Daffodil Delight centered up in the middle there. Then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut up just like this, right through the middle. As a matter of fact, this red one is a little bit longer than I'd like for it to be. I must have measured it wrong, so I'm just going to trim that down just a little bit. Alright, then I'll take them apart, and I'm going to start at the very corner and cut in to where I made that center cut. Pull those away, and then I'll do the same thing down here. Alright, then I have my little banner cut, and to adhere these together, I'm just going to put a little bit of fast fuse there and run a piece about halfway down through the center. Then I'm going to line up the edges and get it centered left to right, and then stick that down. Then I'm going to go ahead and fold this and get it accustomed to knowing what direction I want it to go in. So that part is done. At this point, let's go ahead and get it adhered to our box. So again, I'm just going to run a strip across the top and then run a strip of adhesive about halfway down the back of that ribbon. Then line that up even with the top edge. Make sure that my score lines are matching and get that stuck down. Then, before I can put the stars on, I have to punch that out of the red glimmer paper. So let me grab my Big Shot and get that done. So I'm going to put my red glimmer paper on here, and I'm going to put it face down. Grab my edgelet. And when I put my edgelet on my paper, I'm going to line it up so that the tip of that star is right at the edge of my paper. And I do want about 1/4 of an inch left over down there because I'm going to adhere that to the inside of the box, and that's how it's going to hold on. So let's run this through, and left to right doesn't really matter as long as you're not real close to the edge, because we're going to be cutting that away anyway, so it's okay. And normally when I am using glimmer paper and I have a framelit or an edgelet or something like this that has a lot of detail in it, I usually run it through 2 to 3 times just to make sure that I get it cut through all the way. And I can't remember the name of this. It's the Big Shot something, and it's a piece of foam, and then it has this little roller brush, and it's made to use just like that. So you can break loose your framelit or your die, and then I'll run it over the back of this to get all those little pieces out. See, there's my stars, so I'm going to pull those out and set them aside because I am going to use those again. There's a couple pieces left in there. I'm just going to run my brush over those and get that out. And I have to apologize to you guys. I only told you you needed one piece of glimmer paper, but you actually are going to need two. I didn't want the back side to be white, so I did two and glued them together. So you're going to need two pieces of glimmer paper. So I'm going to get the second one cut out here in just a second. All right, I got both of those cut out. So now what I'm going to do, as you can see, I've got to trim this down a little bit. So what I've done in order to fit this box is I come at an angle that's pretty much even with the angle on this star, and I just trim right up beside that and snip that little piece off, and then repeat that over here. Then I'm going to go ahead and glue these together, and then I will cut my second piece. And to glue those together, I'm just going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue. Make sure that all my little pieces and parts are no longer in there. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, and I'm using a very light hand here. I want enough glue on here to make this hold together, but I don't want so much that it's messy and squishing out the sides. Okay, so I'm going to lay that down and then glue this one right on top, getting everything matched up. And what I like about using the multi-purpose glue is that it gives you time to move things around. If everything is not lining up exactly when you first put it in place, you've got a few seconds to manipulate that and get it all lined up nicely. Okay, so that's all stuck together. I think everything is pretty much even. Oopsie, I slid it a little bit too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit this to the side for just a minute and give that some time to dry while I am putting my stars on the rest of my box. So see, I've just kind of got them scattered out here, and that's the same thing that I'm going to do on this one. And to do that with, I'm going to be using my mini glue dots. As you guys know, if you've followed me for any length of time, I love glue dots. I use them so much, but they are the perfect adhesive for this part of this project. So what I'm going to do is just put a glue dot on the back of each of those little stars. Then just put them here and there randomly according to what looks pleasing to me. And there are 3 different size stars, so you can play around with the sizes and which ones you put next to each other. I like to try to group them in odd numbers if I can, which I did put 4 there, which is not an odd number, but nevertheless I still think it looks good. But I've always heard that when you're decorating or doing something like that, doing things in odd numbers like 3, 5, 7, that kind of thing is more visually pleasing. I don't know because I'm not an art major, but I have to agree as far as that goes. I think a lot of times when you group things together in that manner, it does look good. And on these little bitty stars, I'm putting my glue dot on there, and then I'm folding it in half because it is a little bit big for that little bitty star. So there you go. And I still have a couple of stars left over to save for something else if I want to. Alright, let me get some of my mess out of the way. Okay, so this may not be 100% dry yet, but it's dry enough, I think, that I can do what I need to do with it. So I'm going to trim off this extra piece here so that the back is even with each other. Then to adhere it to the, and I usually put it on the front side of my box, I am going to use some some fast fuse to do that with. And I'm going to put quite a bit of it on there because I want to make sure that this is going to stick. So I'm just going to flip my box over, move these panels out of the way, and then stick that down just like that. I'm going to turn it back over this way and give it a good press. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to do is punch my holes so that I can put my ribbon through there. And I've got a heavy-duty hole punch, so what I've done is I'm just eyeballing it and I'm coming in here, and pretty much what I'm doing is I'm going to put a hole kind of between this little loop and the edge here. So I'm going to put it somewhere just about in this area and then in this area. So get that one punched. It just doesn't want to let go. Maybe I can do it again. There we go. I just had a few pieces of paper that was still trying to hang on. Then punch this side. Then, in order to punch the back out evenly, I'm going to get that lined up just like that, and I'm just going to take a pencil and draw myself a couple of dots there, and then come around here in the back and punch where those dots are. And I know that this is probably, you cannot see it very well, and I apologize. I'm having a hard time seeing my pencil mark myself. Okay, there we go. So now let's go ahead and get the bottom of the box put together. So I'm going to fold the two side flaps in, then fold the back flap in. I'm going to lay that down as this is the front flap. Take my fuse and, well, where did it go? Oh me. I think I got too aggressive with my fuse. There we go. I don't know why I have a tendency to push down too hard on that fast fuse, but sometimes I do. Okay, so then get that adhered down. Then slide my box of M&Ms in there. Then you don't necessarily have to put glue on these, but I feel like that there's less chance of your M&Ms showing. So I just put a little glue dot on one of those tabs and stick it down just like that. Then take a piece of my Pacific Point ribbon and run it through those holes right there. And I've tied it in a double bow. I wanted for it to be a little more frilly. So I've probably got, yeah, about 8 inches right here. Then I'm going to cut approximately the same length on this side, because you're going to need a little extra if you're going to tie a double bow. Now if you don't want to do a double bow and you just want to do a single, then you don't need that much of your ribbon. Alrighty, so get those even. And you know, I'm not the best when it comes to tying bows, but I try. Tie my bow the first time, get that good and tight. Then I'm going to make it the size I want it. Then tie a second bow right on top of the first. You just got to fiddle with it just a little bit to get it looking like you want it to look. Then when you have it, if you have any excess that you don't want on there, just trim it off. Okay, and I did not get this one lined up as well as I did the first time. So I am sorry about that. Let me go ahead and get this box put back together and get that bow in there. Okay, so here we go. Let me get some of my mess out of the way. Alrighty. So here we go. Here are, oopsie, here are the two boxes that I made. Same paper, just transpose them a little bit where the ribbons are a little bit different and the box color base is a little bit different. But for the most part, they're the same other than just switching that up. And I hope that you enjoyed the video today. And if you will go over to my website, which there will be a link below this video, and leave a comment on this post on my website, then your name will go into a drawing and you'll be entered to win these boxes. So make sure to go to my website by clicking on the link below the video. I'd love for you to leave me a comment. If you don't mind, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am wanting to get at least 3,000 subscribers by the middle of the year. So I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up. If you will visit my website this coming Friday, which is January the 13th, I am going to be offering a card class, and it's going to be Valentine's themed, and I will have all of the information, or I hope to have all of the information up online by Friday the 13th. That's scary, isn't it, if you're superstitious? Friday the 13th. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope that you like this box, and I hope that it will inspire you to create some of these for your friends or your children's friends. So you guys, I will talk to you soon.